Welcome to this edition of The Explainer. Look, if you're a driven professional, a fast-moving entrepreneur, or a student really pushing the boundaries of your potential, you know all about the immense pressure of the daily grind. We live in a world that basically demands constant, unrelenting output from us. But today we're going to completely deconstruct the mechanics of endurance. We're diving into some source material that entirely flips the script on how we manage our time, our energy, and our ambition. Burnout is seen as a badge of honor. Seriously, how many times have we seen this exact attitude in modern professional life? There is this deeply ingrained cultural myth out there that dictates success is reserved only for the people who grind incessantly. We see students pulling all-nighters, entrepreneurs pushing themselves past the brink, and corporate cultures basically compelling people to work overtime every single day. We've somehow built a society where working endless hours without a single break is paraded around as the absolute surest path to the top. But as our source material makes very clear, this is a massively dangerous misconception. There is just this huge, stark contrast between what society tells us and what our biology actually demands. On one hand, you have the myth, this belief that success requires constant, unbroken hard work. But on the other hand, you have the biological and physiological reality. Lasting success requires the intelligent alternation between effort and recovery. If you take away just one thing from our explainer today, let it be this fundamental shift in mindset. Taking a systematic break does not slow you down. In fact, it's the exact mechanism that fuels your long-term success. It's the only thing that prevents the kind of physical and mental collapse that routinely derails even the most ambitious careers. Section 1. Your brain is a muscle. Let's look at your cognitive limits. Our source material points out a truly critical biological fact. Just like your biceps or your quads, the brain experiences profound fatigue under sustained, prolonged pressure. Our cognitive resources are finite. They aren't some endless well you can just draw from forever. The human brain is literally not designed to focus continuously for long, unbroken hours. When you force it to do that, it's exactly like asking a totally exhausted muscle to keep lifting heavy weights. Eventually, the system just begins to fail, and the quality of your output absolutely plummets. And the cost of trying to maintain that unbroken focus? It is incredibly steep. Science proves that prolonged hard work without rest actively destroys your productivity. You start making more errors. You begin missing critical nuances. And look, in a high-stakes professional environment, missing one little nuance can cost you a client, a major project, or even your reputation. You'll start noticing that everyday tasks suddenly take significantly longer to finish. Your concentration inevitably drops off a cliff, and you just struggle to think clearly. By refusing to pause, you are actively sabotaging the exact productivity you're trying so hard to maximize. Section 2. The physical cost of burnout. Let's look at the toll this takes beyond just feeling a little tired. Because this right here is the ultimate cost of skipping breaks. Continuous, nonstop work physically damages your body over time. We aren't just talking about being sleepy. We're talking about chronic stress and a lack of sleep directly leading to high blood pressure, persistent headaches, and this deep, unshakable fatigue. It skyrockets your risk for heart diseases and severely weakens your immune system. Without proper rest, your consistency, which is the very thing you need for long-term success, inevitably crashes because your physical vessel is quite literally breaking down. You just can't achieve your goals if your health fails you. So, how do we reframe all of this? Well, think about it like this. Just as machines need maintenance to function properly, the human mind needs rest. You wouldn't drive a high-performance sports car for tens of thousands of miles without ever changing the oil or letting the engine cool down, right? No way! Yet we somehow expect our incredibly complex human minds to perform flawlessly without any maintenance at all. Rest is not a weakness, it is absolutely not a failure of discipline, it is mandatory, non-negotiable maintenance for your mental machinery to ensure it can actually perform over the long haul. Section 3. The strategy of rest. Let's talk about how to actually manage your energy. First things first, we need to totally redefine what a break actually is. A break is not just staring blankly at your phone, or actually scratch that, it's not wasting time at all. The source defines strategic breaks as sophisticated strategies for cognitive maintenance, creative insight, and personal sustainability. I really want you to notice the word sophisticated there. When you step away from your desk, you are executing a highly strategic professional tactic. You are intentionally restoring your finite cognitive resources so that when you do get back to the task, you are operating at peak efficiency, ready to spark those creative insights that a continuous grind just actively suppresses. So let's look at the exact framework you can use to pull this off. One of the absolute best frameworks mentioned in our source material is the Pomodoro application. We like to call this systematic disengagement. Now, the Pomodoro technique isn't just some cute little time management trick. It's a rigid, highly practical operational framework for forcing that intelligent alternation we talked about earlier. It's the practice of systematically disengaging from your work before the cognitive fatigue even sets in, which guarantees that your mental battery is never fully drained. This is where we turn all this theory into real action. All right, here is your practical tutorial for executing systematic disengagement using this Pomodoro framework. Step 1. Sustained focus. You dedicate a specific block of time, say 25 or maybe 50 minutes, to unbroken, highly concentrated work. Step 2. The strategic break. The second that timer goes off, you have to stop. Literally, step away. Take a walk, go have a quick chat with someone, or just sit in a few minutes of total silence doing absolutely nothing. Step 3. Reset neural networks. By stepping away, you are actively protecting your finite cognitive resources, giving your brain's networks the chance to reset and clear out the mental clutter. And finally, step 4. Regain strength. By resetting, you regain your strength physically, mentally, and emotionally. You are now perfectly primed to jump right back into step 1, staying productive and super focused over much, much longer period of time. Listen to me on this one. Systematic disengagement from work is not an indulgence, it is a necessity. If you are a professional feeling that immense, crushing pressure to work without stopping, you have to realize that stepping away for just 5 minutes of silence is exactly what prevents a mental collapse. It's literally the fuel for your ambition. It perfectly replenishes those finite cognitive resources we've been talking about. You aren't indulging yourself by walking away from your laptop. You are performing the exact necessary maintenance to ensure you can actually cross the finish line. So I really want to ask you, and be honest with yourself here, are you actually managing your energy, your health, and your mental strength, or are you just working hard? Because look, anybody can just work hard until they drop. But true success, that's not just about the sheer volume of your effort. It's about how intelligently you manage your own human resources. If you're just grinding until your blood pressure spikes and your concentration is completely shot, you aren't being a high performer. You are just wearing yourself out. And that brings us to our final, most important takeaway today. Lasting success is found in the intelligent alternation between effort and recovery. The endless grind, it's a total myth. The reality is that reaching and maintaining peak performance requires calculated strategic rest. So implement that Pomodoro tutorial we just covered. Take those few minutes of silence. Actively protect your cognitive machinery. Because when you finally master the strategy of rest, you don't just work better for one afternoon. You build a sustainable, wildly successful career that lasts a lifetime. So what's it going to be? Are you ready to stop just working hard and start working smart enough to actually rest? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.